I'm at Civic Center Park in Denver, Colorado, where Bernie Sanders and AOC just spoke following their Fighting Oligarchy tour. With over 30,000 people in attendance, Denver showed up and showed their support for this cause. Hello, my name is Bailey Borkowski, and I am here at the Donald Trump rally here in Aurora, Colorado, where he is speaking about topics such as illegal immigrants, as well as the Venezuelan gangs that are here in Aurora.
So yeah, as you just heard, it is electric in here. People are very optimistic. You can tell them there's smiles on many people's faces here. They are very optimistic that Trump will win this election. Yeah, people have been chanting throughout the night, very excited about the Republican Party and the Republican wins that have happened tonight. They have been chanting USA as they have so much pride for this country. They've been chanting fight, 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 as they want to fight for their country and fight for the Republican candidate, Donald Trump.
Good evening, Rams. I'm JJ McKinney.
And I'm Bailey Borkowski. As the federal government continues to roll out policies, many Americans across the country are sharing concerns over the state of the union.
This has led to protests and rallies across the United States, where some citizens are making their disapproval of the current government apparent.
With over 30,000 people in attendance, this was the largest Democratic rally in Civic Center Park since former President Barack Obama's visit in 2008. People gathered in lines that stretched multiple city blocks and camped outside the rally fences to hear Senator Bernie Sanders and Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez speak on the Fighting Oligarchy tour. When asked about why people were camping outside the rally, they stated this.
Folks here, the 20 to 30,000 people are organized here to hopefully tell our president that we're not going to sit back and watch him defile our country and democracy, and I hope that this movement can grow much more.
By traveling across the country, Sanders and Cortez aim to rally the population against President Donald Trump's administration and its supporting billionaires.
Well, I think the worst addiction in this country is the most dangerous, and that is the greed of the oligarchs.
Cortez joined in on Senator Sanders' message, speaking on what she believes is a dangerous time in American history as billionaires gain more influence in the U.S. government.
We are witnessing an oligarchy in America. When those with the most economic, political, and technological power destroy the public good to enrich themselves, while millions of Americans pay the price.
In hope for a bipartisan movement that unites the working class of Americans to push for reform in the federal government.
This comes after a series of decisions by the Trump administration that has caused funding cuts to multiple federal departments. In Cortez's speech, several notable Republicans were criticized, including newly elected Representative Gabe Evans. Evans's team responded in a press release last Friday, criticizing Cortez, Sanders, and the Democratic Party's policies on oil and gas. Congressman Evans is fighting for lower costs, safer communities, and making the American dream possible for all Coloradoans. His common sense approach stands in stark contrast to AOC and Bernie Sanders' extreme anti-oil and gas rhetoric.
Sanders and Cortez have been making multiple visits to Republican-heavy districts on their tour in order to gain more supporters for their cause. Just earlier that day, the pair spoke in Greeley, where there were over 11,000 people in attendance. Several other notable keynote speakers took to the stage to rally for their causes, including multiple union leaders in construction and education and Federal Trade Commission Commissioner Alvaro Bordea. Members of the crowd resonated with Sanders and Cortez's policies on affordable health care, housing, and equal taxation, even going as far as chanting "tax the rich" when billionaire wages were brought into question.
Some attendees were not as supportive of the reform in the Democratic Party. The Denver communists hope to spread their belief that no true change can be made without an upheaval of capitalist systems.
We find ourselves where we are today with Trump because of the Democratic Party and their inability and unwillingness to actually further progressive asks.
They believe that a creation of a revolutionary party is the only way to create real change and truly see the American people in power.
Regardless, Sanders had one more message of unity to supporters and critics alike.
We can defeat Trumpism. We can create a political movement so that we have a government and economy that works for all of us, not just the 1%.
Overall, Cortez and Sanders hope that rallies like this are just the beginning of a longer call to action to change in the federal government.
The layoffs at national parks across the country have affected thousands of people and caused many to scramble to figure out which direction to go. Even those who still have their jobs at national parks are anxious about keeping it and decline to speak with media. A senior at Colorado State University shares how these mass layoffs have impacted her job search.
I worked for the Park Service last summer, and it was my intent to graduate and work for the Park Service again this summer. Things are just really up in the air, and that's caused a lot of anxiety about my housing situation, what I'm going to do after I graduate, and I'm having to find other options that are just a more reliable line of work.
Needham also mentions the problems that could arise when trying to hire for new seasonal positions.
If people were unjustly fired in upper positions, there's nobody left in parks to actually interview and hire new seasonal positions that are going to be coming in too. So there's this kind of vacuum of power, I think, that's happening, where even if seasonal hiring is able to resume, like there's still at some parks probably a shortage of people to train and interview and fill those positions as well.
Information about hiring and the parks is constantly changing, so those with and without their jobs at national parks are uncertain of what their future holds.